Good morning, everybody. It's Tuesday here in Las Vegas, and we're about 8 o'clock in the morning, and I'm talking to Chip Chirimbus. He is now in South Florida. How's the weather down there, Chip?
Hot and humid, Jim.
Yeah, I remember those. Florida summer days. Well, I tell you, you got to carry around 3 or 4 shirts with you because they're constantly sweating.
Absolutely. It's such a different heat than Las Vegas.
It is. It's well, enjoy your stay down there. I know it's a beautiful place. No question about South Florida. It is gorgeous there. But there's a lot.
I won't be here long.
There's a lot going on in the sports world. Most of it is, of course, baseball's every day, and that's pretty interesting. Very interesting, actually. I went through a cold spell 2 weeks ago it was probably one of the worst I've ever gone through, and now right now I'm on a hot spell. And it just, you do the same amount of work, you work every day. People think that it's easy. It's not, because you got to be able to withstand those days when you do everything right and everything goes wrong. And
Exactly.
it's a long season.
Well, it's the ebb and flow of the season too, Jim, and you have to be able to withstand those dry periods. And usually I cut back on the number of games. I just I'll go back to the A place status, where I'll just post one game for the day and see what that means.
Absolutely.
So you come out of that,
Yeah, well, yeah, you don't want to bury yourself, and you don't want to bury people. So okay, I'm cold. You back off, and so I was, right now I think I'm like 9 out of 10. And 2 weeks ago I was like 0 for 90. I'm exaggerating, but but it felt like that way. So.
Well, we all have our own particular systems, our favorite ways we like to do things, and sometimes you just look at the board, you go look through, crunch the numbers, and set the say starting pitchers or whatever, and there's just nothing there for you, and from that point it becomes like a guess, So
right.
Sometimes it's just But this NBA with the free agency, of course, the Lakers are a big story, Jim. LeBron going over and everything else they've done since then.
I think it's, Magic is, he's a brilliant businessman. He's done exceptionally well in the business world. He's a smart guy. Obviously, he was a great basketball player. Some would argue he might have been the greatest player ever because of what he was able to do.
He might be one of the best all-around players, that's for sure.
I mean, here's a guy that was 6'9", point guard, could play. When he needed to, he played center and scored 41. And I mean,
that was his rookie year, and they went out and won the NBA championship. Jabbar got hurt.
I remember that very well. That was against the Sixers, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
I remember a particular place called the Blue Note Cafe, which was originally in Connecticut, was an original post office in Stamford, Connecticut, and they turned it into an old rustic bar. And of course, the public domain took it over because they wanted to build a bridge for the railroad. I watched that whole series in there, and I was just Magic Johnson was just incredible.
Oh, incredible ball.
Absolutely.
If I was going to start,
he's making some moves here, Jim. I mean. Getting Lance Stevenson, I thought, was perfect because he's been a nemesis of LeBron for years, and LeBron needs somebody with guts on his team.
He does.
He's not afraid.
He does. With the team that they have right now, LeBron, Rondo, Lance Stevenson. They've got a few other players there. Ball is probably going to get. I don't think Ball will stay. I think there's just too much.
Like I said before, who wants him? And signing Rondo, it's like they have two Lonzo Balls. They're both the same player. That 4 shooters, great ball handlers, rebounders, and Rondo may play better defense, but I didn't quite understand that. Unless, like you said, they're really looking to move Lonzo Ball, but who's going to take him?
I heard that Lithuania was going to take him.
I don't think he fits in San Antonio, and established teams aren't going to want that headache.
Well, yeah, when you get him, you get the father, and he's been a nemesis. So I don't know. That's a big issue, but I'm sure Magic will figure that one out. But I'm kind of optimistic about it. Any place that LeBron goes,
Me too.
is going to be a dangerous team because he didn't have much in Cleveland, and he made it to the finals 4 straight years. Now, granted, he's going to have a lot worse. He's going to have a lot harder time in the West because there's so many good teams out there. But
For sure.
But the question to me with him is 34 years old. I don't know how many more years he wants to chase it, but he's obviously has a lot of money. He's talented. He's smart. I think he wants to get into other business opportunities in the entertainment world, and
my first thought was that he was going to L.A. for the opportunities for when he retires. Like you said, he's
I agree.
33 right now. He's 38 when he retires.
I
who knows?
I agree. That's why I thought he was going to go there all the time. And actually, I made a little bet on that he was going to L.A. anyway, so they cashed a ticket. But.
And Julius Randle, he signed. He's out of town. He left, and sort of a simple what happened to him because he was their #1 pick, and then the first game of the year, his rookie season, he just shattered his ankle and his leg, and he's never been the same since.
Yep, there's a lot of hard luck stories out there. I mean, Cousins will go into the Warriors for $5 million. We talked about that a little before. This kind of a free roll for the Warriors. If the guy really can come back, that's a hell of a bargain. That's an amazing player.
Did you see any of the summer league action last night?
I did not. No.
Because Bagley was absolutely outstanding, dominant. Sacramento played the Lakers, and we understand that most of the front liners aren't there, but Bagley looked great, and we had discussed this before. Trae Young, I guess, he didn't have such an exciting night for the Atlanta Hawks in their summer league game either. So it's gonna be interesting to see what he does.
Going back to draft night, and the young man came out of Europe, who was the #1 player in Europe, and 19 years old, played a couple years as a pro, and he gets drafted by Atlanta, and then they trade with Dallas to get Trae Young. I didn't understand that. I mean, I think this guy from Europe is actually the best player in the draft.
But you know what it was, Jim, and I realized that after Atlanta because I thought it was a big mistake myself when it first happened, but Atlanta had a plan. They really did, and their plan was to go with 2 huge shooting guards, and that's what happened. Their next pick, they took the 6'7" shooter out of Maryland, one of the best 3-point shooters in the country. So their philosophy, I guess, was to go and try and compete the Curry-Thompson way, the way the Warriors do it.
Yeah.
But I don't know if you could ever match those two, especially because I don't think that Young. To me, Jim, he's the biggest question mark in the draft.
Yeah. Well, first of all, anybody that's going to depend on the long shot, the 3-point shot, it's the most fickle statistic in basketball. It's not like shooting layups or driving to the hoop. You're hitting bombs, and if you have a cold night, I mean, you can go 3 for 20, or you can go for 15 for 20. I mean, it's
and his numbers crashed the second half of the season once people made adjustments and went to a conference play.
They did.
I don't know. I think physically he's small too. So he's the one. He was the one, Jim. I'll be surprised the most if he's the guy that breaks through. And by the way, you can bet against Oklahoma City winning the championship. They signed George, so they're not going anywhere. You could do the same thing with Houston. They signed their guard. What's his name? Chris Paul? Yeah, he's no Willis Reed. So I don't think they can win with those guys, Jim.
Why do you say that?
Because I'm still waiting for Chris Paul to be there in a game that counts. I mean, I keep hearing these guys saying, "Oh, if he didn't go down, Houston would have ended up winning." And I'm going, "Well, first off, I don't believe they would have. because I was still waiting for him to have his big game. I mean, when they win by 35 points and he's got his 17 assists and his 30 points, it's great. But I'm just not a fan. I'm still waiting.
Well,
waiting.
He has had a history. There's no question of not showing up in the big moment. That's for sure. But you know,
and he didn't even physically show up at his last time. I mean, with a pulled hamstring or whatever. I figured you got to fake it.
well,
Sweden just scored a goal.
I don't have the sports on. Just the baseball. Anything in baseball? I mean, we have a trade deadline coming up soon. Do you see any? I mean, shouldn't they move DeGrom? I mean, this guy's one of the best pitchers in baseball, and he could. I mean, will they move him? Can they move him? I mean, he's an amazing player.
If I was the Yankees, I would send a catcher that can't catch, Sanchez, an outfielder, Ellsbury, that can't play, and you might as well throw in Bird and get one of those Yankee starters, DeGrom or Syndergaard if you could. I mean, one of those Mets starters and ship them to the Yankees. This Mets team is absolutely horrid, Jim. They got Miami now has a better record than they have, and they just can't do it. The pitching, the pressure on DeGrom now is not 5 innings. You can start to see it. He can't pitch a shutout every time out, and half the time he pitches a shutout, they take him out of the game in the 8th inning, and they blow the lead anyway. So.
Yeah, it's a long season, and you see, like, your players will start off hot and get cold, and players will start off cold and get hot. And for, you know, when you're looking at statistics, I think it's a total joke. They give you the ERA for the season, the WHIP for the season, all these stats. Yeah. They mean absolutely nothing. Look at what they're doing lately. And what they did in April, or you know, I mean, it's ridiculous when you look at these season-long stats. They mean nothing.
You know, baseball is such a game of streets. They had D.B. Gregorius who went 1 for 47, and now he's up to like hitting 260 something. So there are streaks for all these guys. This Goldschmidt went like 2 for 50 something, and all of a sudden he turns it on and he got 6 homers in 9 days. So I don't know. You get in the zone in baseball, and it's of all the sports, I think it's the one that's, you know, you just feel it.
Well,
I guess in basketball, these guys are hitting these shots when Curry or like Michael Jordan used to get. They get unconscious.
Yeah, well, the basket looks like the ocean, but yeah, it's the same. It's the same thing, but it's a long season. It's hard to maintain your form over 6 months. You know, you're going to go in and out. You're going to feel good some days, not others. I mean, these are not machines; they're humans. So, hey, how about what Tampa is doing with the way that they start the game? They use relief pitchers. I mean, they only have a couple starters, and Snell is amazing. He's absolutely incredible. But other than that, they're down to very few, and they start the game off with relief pitchers. And as crazy as it is, from fundamental baseball, you know, it's working, and that manager there is ingenious. And whatever he's pulling it off, and they're playing extremely well.
Well, you know, Jim, they have such an advantage, and people hate going to play there. That home field is ridiculous. I mean, the Yankees go in and get swept. The Red Sox go in and can't win. I mean, if those teams can't win there, there's trouble.
What's wrong with the stadium that they don't like it?
Oh, it's dingy. I don't know if you've ever been there, Tropicana Field.
I have not.
There's like a hum or a hue which is taking place because of the air conditioning system to start with, and it's not very aesthetically pleasing, Jim, and it's sort of dark and has shadows, and you know, recreating a natural light is the most difficult part of an indoor venue, and I don't think they do it well there at all.
I remember a time when you and I went to a Super Bowl in Tampa, and I got sick and ended up watching the game in a hospital bed.
I know, that was amazing. And you know, and I've had Rock take. You know something? Had it happen to Rocco in Tampa as well in a different year.
Really?
No, excuse me. Well, excuse me, it was in Jacksonville. But it was the Florida Super Bowl.
Wow.
Yeah, Rocco cut sick. My buddy Rocco, for those of you who don't know, we've been to 25 Super Bowls together.
Wow.
And,
wow.
Kind of wild.
Well,
we put it down, Jim. The ticket prices, so the gouging is unbelievable. You know, we used to be able to do the whole trip at a reasonable price. You know, $4 or $5 grand maybe with rooms and the car. And now, you know, they're looking for $7,000-8,000 for the ticket alone.
Yeah, it's crazy. It really is. You know, next week I think we should start doing some analysis of the divisions that coming up. I mean, I have some.
Sure.
You know, I've been doing a lot of work on it, writing some blogs and stuff about it, and I think it's time to start digging in. And we're getting close. Have
you looked at the Canadian football at all?
I have. I've actually been doing quite well with that. I started off. I got on Winnipeg right away, and the quarterback there, newbie there, he started off pretty well. Now they didn't make it the last game, but you know it's easy that there are not that many teams, so you can stay on top of them real good. And,
I started slow. I went 3-0 last week, so I'm happy about that. But Winnipeg's got a rookie quarterback, and like you said, somebody has to buy. There's 4 games a week. I kind of like it. I like the pace of the game too because they the wider field and it's an interesting game. I think we can win there.
I've been to one live game up there when I spent quite a bit of time in Canada. It is very interesting. I mean, these guys don't get paid anywhere near the money they make in the NFL. But there's a lot of American players. Pardon me?
They play 18 games. Yeah.
Yep, they do. And you don't have a lot of divas up there like you have in the NFL. So
I think those guys, for the most part, are happy to be playing. You know.
Exactly. Exactly. During the week they bag groceries, and on the weekend they play football.
Right?
Yeah.
They got this Jeremiah Magoli. He's playing with somebody. He's from Mississippi.
You have a lot.
Doing well, but
you have a lot of U.S. college players up there, no question.
But it's a game. I think this is a game where a mobile quarterback or a quarterback that can run is very valuable because the field is so big and so wide, and they have 18 guys in motion off the line of scrimmage. It's really fun.
You remember, Doug Flutie went up there and did pretty damn good, and back in his day. And now they got
Warren
Moon. He was pretty.
Warren Moon wasn't the MVP like 3-4 times.
Oh, he was excellent. Now you got Johnny Manziel up there, but I don't know how that's going to work out.
He's not going to get in the lineup. This Hamilton quarterback is pretty good, Jim.
Johnny's got to clean up his off-field behavior before he can ever be successful in football.
I sort of feel like Trey Young. I question his accuracy, and when he won the Heisman, he was the leading rusher in the SEC. It isn't that his passing game put him there. He was the best runner in the country. He was playing quarterback.
He was a great college quarterback, but not all great college quarterbacks make it in the NFL. They're too big, too strong, too fast. You can't play that kind of game and make it in the NFL. Not unless you're...
Absolutely.
Maybe one guy, Russell Wilson, who I think is absolutely an amazing athlete. He's not big, but he's very physical. And he seems to be able to handle the punishment that he gets from not having an offensive line and being able to scramble and get yards. There's very few people like that. And he's...
Well, Jim, if I remember correctly, wasn't Charlie Ward, did he win the Heisman at Notre Dame and ended up playing in the NBA because he just physically couldn't get it done in the NFL?
That's right. Exactly. Anything you want to cover before we sign off, Chip?
No, I just it was good talking to you. I wanted to hear about the free agencies. I was kind of surprised that LeBron went where he went. I don't think that that Ford and the George signings are going to have much impact. Cousins doesn't even have to have an impact. And Bagley looked great in his first game yesterday. He had like 3 blocks, 17 points in 24 minutes. Very impressive, Jim.
Yeah, that sounds like it was. I didn't see it, but I think it's going to be great.
And if Kawhi Leonard could ever make it to Philadelphia, they might the Sixers. I'll give them a puncher's chance next year.
Well, you look at that. Toronto is a very solid team. They got rid of their coach, which I think was a mistake. I mean, the only problem Toronto ever had was LeBron played in the East. So it's you bring in another coach. Now you got to worry about all the chemistry issues, and of course he goes to Detroit.
That's going to be interesting, Jim. It's going to be interesting to see what he does in Detroit, because they just found Calderon, who once played for him in Toronto, and we'll see what happens there. It's
going to be interesting, but we have a couple things to do before we get to the NBA season, and that means we got to kick butt in the in football, college and pro, and we have to finish up this baseball season, which we're both doing quite well in, and we got to keep doing that. So I'll tell you one thing: there's not a whole lot of rest when you're in this business.
Yeah, that's for sure. We don't get any days off, but it's a grind. It's a grind, but it's like the line. This is the life we've chosen, and I tell people that even if I had continued teaching or was involved in something else, I would still probably be doing this every day.
I wouldn't change anything. I've been doing this 49 years. And I, there's been ups and downs and stuff, but no, I love it. I make my own, my hours.
Yeah, me too.
You can make your own hours.
It's exciting to see the line. When I sit and I get that opening line and I'm looking at it, writing it down, it's always a little bit of excitement.
Hell yes. And there's nothing boring unless these leagues go on strike like we've seen a couple times. There's no downtime at all. And
yep.
It's well, listen, enjoy your trip back down there, and I remember living down there for a while, and it's I don't enjoy the humidity, so I wish you luck with that. But by the way, Hank moved out here last weekend. He's now a permanent Las Vegas resident.
Well, without Gulfstream being open year-round, I can understand him wanting to be out here.
You take care, Chipper, and we'll talk to you soon.
All right, Jimmy, God bless. Good hearing from you.
Okay, bud. Have a good trip there.
Take care.